and welcome to Journey with the Kellers. My name is Amanda Keller and today we are back in the Keller kitchen. So today we are going to be making something from the Dark Rye and Honey Cake cookbook. And today is another waffle, which is called the Luikse Wafel. Now I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. It's Luikse Wafel, okay? So this is a fairly easy recipe, but it does recommend that you refrigerate it overnight before cooking it. So I am actually making it the night before, and I will actually bake them tomorrow night and show you that. So here we go. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to need a large bowl. And in that bowl, you're first going to put 4 cups of bread flour. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, and I also forgot to tell you, so before you start this, you are going to need 1 cup of unsalted butter softened. So you might want to pull that out or stick it in the microwave, whichever way you're going to do it, okay? All right, so we got the 4 cups of bread flour in there. Then you're going to need 2 tablespoons. It says of demerara, or coarse, raw, or super fine sugar. So the demerara is a coarse, raw sugar, or you can use the super fine sugar. Tell you what, guys, I'm using regular, just granulated sugar. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of that. Okay. All right, set that over here. Then you're going to need 4 3/4 teaspoons of instant dry yeast. So we make sure this is dry. Well, I guess it is. Okay. So now we're going to need 1. Oops. 2, 3, and 4. And then you need 3/4. So I don't have a 3/4 measuring spoon, so I'm just going to do the 1/4 or 1/4 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So we got that in there. Let's see. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and combine those together. You can do this in a mixer, or you can use an electric, you can do an electric stand mixer or a hand mixer if you want. I am just choosing to do it by hand this time, partially because all of my mixer parts are in the dishwasher right now, and I didn't feel like grabbing them out. So we're just going to do it by hand. So get that all nice and mixed up, okay? Once that is mixed up, what you're going to do is you are going to add a 1/2 cup of water to it. Excuse the loud water noise, my dishwasher is draining. Okay, you're going to add a 1/2 cup of water. You're going to add 3.5 tablespoons of milk, of whole milk. Okay, so here is 1. Here is 2. Here is 3. And then a 1/2. Okay, and a 1/2. All right. Then you're also going to add to this some honey. It says runny honey. I got to make sure this is open. It is, okay. And it says 1 tablespoon. I'm just doing regular honey. I'm not sure what runny honey is. Since this is a Belgian cookbook, I mean, maybe you just add water to it. But we'll just add regular old honey. Our honey's pretty runny anyways. Okay. Got it. Okay. 1 tablespoon of honey. Always have your handy dandy spatula. Okay, then you're also going to need, are we adding that in yet? Oh, and 1 medium egg. So we are adding that in. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so now you're going to mix this together. And then you're gonna knead it for about 5 minutes, okay? So let me get this all mixed in. And then I'm just gonna use my hands to get it the rest of the way mixed in once the liquid is pretty absorbed. And then I'm gonna knead it for 5 minutes and I will be right back. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, you guys, so I just got done kneading it for 5 minutes, and I will say, it's not a very good dough. It's very crumbly, but we haven't added all the ingredients yet. So as you can tell, it's not really coming together. In some places it is, but in other places it's not. Ugh, and it's very, very hard to knead. Okay, so now that it's been kneaded for 5 minutes, you're gonna let this rest for 5 minutes. And while that is resting, we're gonna do a few things. Oops, there's a couple pieces of dough. Okay, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your 2 sticks of softened butter. You're just going to cut those up into cubes. Is that what it says? Yeah, it says into chunks. Okay, so we're just going to cut this up into chunks here. So there's the first one done. It's all sticking to it. There we go. And then let's get the second one done. Okay, cut that into chunks. There we go. We're just gonna set those to the side until we're ready to add them in. Let me wash my hands real quick. Okay, so now the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to need some pearl sugar, okay? And I found it's called Belgian pearl sugar, and I think I got this off of Amazon. Okay, so what you need is 1 cup of pearl sugar. I keep losing where I'm putting everything. Okay. Almost the whole bag there. Okay, so this is pearl sugar, you guys. So it's just like big old chunks of sugar, okay? So you're gonna put that into a bowl here. And what it says to do is it says lightly coat with vegetable oil. And that's to prevent the sugar from taking the moisture from the batter, okay? So I'm just gonna put maybe, I wanna use the lid here. Just a smidge in there. And then I'm just gonna toss it up. Hopefully that'll get it all coated. Not so sure that was enough, so let's put just a little bit more in. And kind of spread it around a little too. There we go. Okay. So now that's ready. So I'm gonna let my dough rest for the rest of the 5 minutes, and then I will be back to show you guys what we're doing. So our dough has rested for the 5 minutes. So what you're gonna do now, I'm gonna move this stuff out of the way that I've already used. And did I put cinnamon in here, and was I supposed to? You know what, you guys? So when you're combining the flour, sugar, yeast, and the yeast at the beginning, you're also supposed to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm just gonna do that now, and it'll get mixed in with this other stuff. Hopefully. Shouldn't be a big deal since we're still gonna be kneading it anyways. Okay, so I'm just gonna sprinkle that on top of there. So when you do your flour, your sugar, your yeast, add your cinnamon as well. So I think I forgot that. If I didn't, well, then I just added extra. Okay, you guys, so now what you're gonna do is on one side of your dough, you're going to put in your chunks of softened butter, 1 cup of softened butter. Get these out of the way. And then on the other side, you are gonna put, let's see, how much salt? A 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. And if you've watched any of my other things, you know that I just use regular salt. Okay, so half a teaspoon of sea salt. And then also 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda. Now, if you're like me and you don't have a 1/8 measuring spoon, I do have one set that does have a 1/8, but this one doesn't. So just do about 1/2 of a 1/4 of a 1/4 teaspoon. That should do it. Okay. So now you're gonna go ahead and bring this all together again, and you're gonna knead it for 10 minutes. So hopefully this butter will kind of help the dough become more of a dough, because right now it's not really that great of a dough. I think it will. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this and knead this for 10 minutes. Whew, this could have been a bad idea. My hands are gonna be tired. So like I said, you can do this in a stand mixer or with an electric mixer, although I think this would be a lot to handle for an electric mixer. But if you do use a stand mixer, you can use your dough hook for this, okay? All right, so I will be back as soon as I have kneaded this for 10 minutes. So be right back. All right, you guys, so I got this all nice and mixed up. So now it's kind of like a really sticky dough. Not super, like it's not like sticky, but it is very moist, okay? So, and it does, you will start to see it. It does take about 10 minutes of doing it. Of course, if you're doing it with your mixer, it's probably slower, okay? So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and dump your pearl sugar that you coated in vegetable oil, or me, I use canola oil, and you're gonna mix that in, okay? And you're gonna make sure that it gets in there and really distribute it out, okay? You don't want a big clump of sugar in one area. You wanna make sure it gets nice and distributed, okay? Like I said, it's a very soft dough, pretty moist. You're gonna basically have some grease and stuff on your hands. Okay, getting it distributed really nice here. There we go, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'll give you guys a closer look. So here it is. You can see your big chunks of sugar in there. It is a pretty sticky, you listen, you can hear it. It's a pretty sticky dough, okay? All right, so after you get this all mixed in, you're gonna go ahead and let this rest for about 5 minutes, okay? Once it's rested, you're gonna take either a parchment lined like plate or something, a pretty good size one. You need like a tray or a large airtight container and put parchment paper down on that. You're going to divide this into 8 pieces, as equal as you can get them, and put them on the parchment paper. And then you're going to put this in the refrigerator so that it can proof slowly. And it does say it's preferred for it to go overnight in the refrigerator, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit and then just divide it out into as 8 equal pieces I can get and put it in the fridge. And I'll be back tomorrow to show you guys how to cook these. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, you guys, we are back. We have these nice little waffles ready to go. Now, before you do put your waffle into your waffle iron, after you've left it in the refrigerator overnight, you do want to go ahead and let them sit out for about a half an hour. It's still a hard dough, even with sitting out for half an hour. Okay, so you do want to let them sit out for a half an hour before you put them in your waffle iron, okay? So I'm just getting this one in here. It's almost closed, not quite, but almost. Let me get it to go down a little bit more. Now, if you do have a non-stick waffle iron, you probably won't need to grease it or anything. If you do not have a non-stick waffle iron, you probably are going to want to grease it with either some butter or you could use some of the spray. And I'm just going to show you what these look like close up once they've been sitting overnight. They haven't changed much. They maybe gotten a little bit bigger, but you can still see all the little nice sugar things in there. So they look pretty good, okay? Now, this waffle is supposed to be kind of caramelized. So this sugar will get on the waffle iron as it's cooking and it'll start kind of making darker brown spots. So don't think, oh my gosh, it's burnt. It's not burnt the way they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be a darker brown. Now, also, these are good for like making them ahead of time and then letting them cool off, and you can just reheat them later. You can even freeze these really well and then thaw them out in the refrigerator overnight and heat them up in the morning. She does talk about heating them up in a waffle iron, but you could probably use a toaster or a toaster oven or something like that as well. I don't think it would be a problem. She does say too that if they're in the refrigerator, they will kind of turn really hard, but you just warm them back up and they go back to being just like a waffle, so that should be fine. So now that we are here, so she doesn't give a time for how long these are going to cook, and most waffles do not. It depends on the waffle and probably partially how you liked them cooked. So basically, usually what I go by is if there is a lot of steam coming out of the waffle, it's definitely not done. Usually if the waffle slows down, the steam slows down on the waffle maker, then that usually means it might be done or it's getting done. This one actually didn't steam as much, so it's just going to be a matter of checking it. And I keep pushing this down because it's not quite tight. So you're just going to check them. She does say that hers takes about 5 minutes, but that's, if you've used your waffle maker quite a bit, you'll know more about when things are done than if you haven't. Okay, the other thing that I want to tell you too, the first waffle that'll come out may not be as caramelized, and as you put more waffles into the waffle iron, they may get more and more caramelized as they come out. So just remember that your first one may not be as dark as your last one. So, it is starting to steam pretty good now. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Let me move you a little bit closer here. So hopefully you can see all that steam here coming out of the waffle maker back there. So as long as all that steam is coming out, I say it still needs to cook. If once that slows down, that's when I will open it up and check it. And as you can see too, when I first put it in there, the waffle maker went back to saying it wasn't ready, and now it is ready. So it's up to temperature, which is why it's steaming pretty good. And you could hear it, listen to it sizzling in there. It's a good sound. Okay. All right. Oops, sorry about that. Got you guys a little too high there. Okay, so now that that's steaming pretty good, I will be back as soon as that steam slows down and we will check it. And I'm also going to keep pressing down on this a little bit because I don't like how it's not quite closing all the way. So I want to make sure that it does get done really well. So I'll be back as soon as this steam slows down and show you guys, and we'll check it and see if it's done. Also have a cooling rack ready to put your waffles on, okay? So guys, so I thought I'd bring you up nice and close so that you can see what it looks like as we're pulling it out. So you can see there's still a little bit of steam, but it's been in there for a good long time. And if you can't see that, let's raise you up just a little bit here. Look at that. It's nice and caramelized looking. It looks really good. So what you're going to do is just take this. I usually just use a spatula here, kind of pry it up a little bit. And then hopefully you can just grab it and stick it on your cooling rack, okay? Let's move you guys back over here. I'll get my next one on here in just a minute. Okay, you guys. So now all that's left is you just keep baking your 8. I'm going to put another one on. Now, they've been sitting out, so I did it at exactly half an hour. These have been sitting out a little bit longer, so they're actually getting a little bit easier. They're not quite as hard the longer they're sitting out. So you may even want to let them sit out for a little bit longer than a half an hour if they still feel pretty hard. I don't think they're going to completely soften up without warming them, but even I can tell by the touch they're kind of softening up a little bit the longer they sit out here, okay? So look at how good that looks, you guys. So this is what they mean by caramelized. See how dark it is? So that in each one that you pull out will probably be caramelized a little bit more because there's going to be leftover sugar from the one before, okay? So let's just give this a little try. I just want a small piece of it. Ooh, that's hot. I'm going to make sure I get some caramelization there. I can see what it really tastes like. Okay, there we go. All right. Ooh, okay, you guys. So I could pretty much eat this waffle by itself. I wouldn't really need to put anything else on it. It's got a nice sweetness to it. So it's not like kind of just a bready taste like the regular waffles are. It's got a nice sweetness to it. So I could almost eat this. I could eat this without putting syrup or butter or anything on it. It's really good. Okay. Got a little bit of the sugar cube that was still left together, or sugar piece. It's really good. Okay, you guys, so like I said, you can leave these to cool, heat them back up when you're ready to eat them, or you can put them in the freezer and freeze them and then thaw them out in the refrigerator the night before or the morning of if you're going to have them for dinner, whichever way you're going to do it. And then you can just heat them back up, and then you can either use a waffle iron. I would think it would be possible to use like a toaster oven or a toaster, maybe even a microwave. I don't know. I haven't tried that, so. But that's it for this video, you guys. I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe if you like, or don't if you don't. Everyone have a good day. Enjoy your cooking. Keep your kitchen messy, and we'll see you later. Bye.